Alrighty, y'all. It is Friday, August the 29th, and we're going to switch it up a little bit today. We're going to switch it up. Alrighty, my darlings. We're taking a break from the shit show circus tonight to talk about deconstruction, darling, because I haven't talked about it in a little bit. And a lot of folks have been coming into the comments asking about that since, that is part of the story. I did grow up in the narcissistic criminal cult that is specifically prosperity gospel, but any of that mega sheeple people-ish falls into that category. So before I start this, because I always lose followers whenever I talk about this, because I know it's near and dear to people's hearts. Again, I grew up in it, and I'm the only member of my family that's over here on this side of it. So I do know how deep it can run and how it can get when someone speaks frankly. So just know that I'm not talking about personal faith people. All right. The folks that are good people who use their faith as a means to personally improve their lives and stay on track. If that's something that helps them, cool. We're not talking about you, darling. We are talking about the people that believe they need to control everyone's personal lives because the creator that made this entire universe and gave us free will, for some reason wants that bald white guy to take it away. And he can't tell us himself, itself, herself, theyself. No. He needs that guy over there to tell us all. That's the only way that message can come across. It's from that dude over there who's collecting a paycheck from everyone sitting in his pews. You understand? So first of all, I want to say that as a neurofeisty, I was born into it, but it was something I questioned a lot, especially when you're born into it, they like them young, because if you're taught to keep the blinders, you do not think for yourself. You do not question things that you don't understand. Just trust the magic other world to handle it if you don't understand it. But don't you dare seek answers. And you better not, definitely not look to things like science and math and facts. You better go with what you're told and not look otherwise. You understand? So after a while, that starts to not make sense anymore. When you're watching all the families that already have money seem to be the only families receiving blessings. Okay? And the blessings are just the stuff that they were going to do anyway. They bought a new car, but it's a blessing, so that you can think that, a little Jesus angel came and bing, and their Rolls Royce or whatever it was came up. For people like me who I got good grades, I was in praise team and chorus and choir, and I wrote skits in coffee houses. I was a missionary in Europe, telling people in Europe they need Jeebus. I was a Bible quiz memory champion. So darling, it's funny when people try to cross me, when they knock on my door, I'm like, yeah, baby, let's go. You think I just don't like it, honey. You have no idea. You have no idea what I have seen. I've been through a lot of different choices. I've seen a lot of different situations, and there are some very common themes. So when I got to, I want to say 12, 13, I read a book. Again, neurofeisty. So I would read like encyclopedias for fun. Okay, pause real quick. Let me know if I should make this into like a series and do some more of these. I'm going to say that now before I forget in case I don't say it, because I could talk about this all day. I just kind of have gotten sidelined with current events, but I got a lot to say about this, especially in this color, because I got stuff to say about that as well. Maybe I'll save that for later and not put it in this one, because I'll lose even more followers if I talk about what I think about that. So anyway, like I said, my family they're still members. All right. I'm the only one that's over here in this boat. I'm all alone. So I totally get it. Anyway, I'm reading this book, and it's suddenly one thing that became apparent is you understand why these people are such single issue voters. When you look at all the denominations, because the book was religions, cults, and occults, and it went through all the denominations of that particular faith. And as you're going through it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is just a bunch of dudes splitting off into new denominations 90% of the time over something they want to control with women, what they can wear, what they can say, what they can do. And then like the other 10%, it's something like if you believe in tongues or not, if you believe in miracles or not, but it's just all these separate denominations over essentially single issues. Like it's one main issue that now there's a whole separate denomination that's under that guy's control. Then you read the other Abrahamic faiths and you realize that they're all basically the same thing except for a few key differences. Why are they always fighting with each other? Like you start asking questions and they don't like that. So as you ask questions, if you allow yourself to do it, you start realizing that, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense, cannot be explained. And no, it's not because it's a magical, mystical thing that you're not just being blessed with yet. It's on purpose. All right. We're not in the caveman era anymore. We don't need to believe that there's a sky daddy in charge of things. And yes, it's a narcissistic criminal internal cult. You've got a bunch of people who believe that their every thought, whim, and feeling is backed by the creator of the universe. These are people who believe that if they lost their keys and they find them, that was God itself helping them, and not all those children over there, not all those victims over there, just them, just little blonde hair, blue-eyed Sarah on her way to work in her Range Rover. God was looking out for her, okay? That's narcissism. That's not blessings and angels. That's pure. If you believe there's an all-powerful being following you around, making sure you got your toast on time, okay, and we can talk about the criminal part, because that was the other thing I started noticing, especially on the black side. There's a lot of these folks, the ones that aren't family, traditional, like come from a line of ministry men, right? You've got the ones that found it in jail, and that's most of them. Those are the two flavors. The ones that it runs in the family and the ones that found it in jail. And those ones are always addicts and pimps and drug dealers and con men, and it becomes part of their story. It's the perfect grift, because they can stand there and be honest and say, yeah, I was a con man and a pimp and I did this and I did that, and then I went to jail and I was in there for 10 years and I found this, and now here I am, a multi-millionaire. And everyone claps and no one puts two and two together that the con man went in and came out with a better con. Instead, they praise him for it and give him more money. It's perfect. Look, I'm technically ordained, y'all. Like, if I could use the money. You have no idea how many times, like, I don't know how they do it. I could put on the facade and do all the hooping and hollering and be set probably in 6 months, but I would know. I would know on the inside. Man, I could use it though. Maybe I should do it anyway. It's full of, and if you notice, that's why they love things like he qualifies the call, he doesn't call the qualified. That's so they can dump on doctors and educated people, and they can go with their feelings. That's why they recruit criminals and then go, see, he used murderers. See, he uses criminals, you know, and it's meant to be like, and I'm not saying that to judge people that have made mistakes in their life. I'm saying they're specifically prepping you to accept criminals, unrepentant criminals who believe that they can just say a few words and they're clean again, in charge of things like the money, the children. They have insurance for diddling. I can't say that enough. They do it so much they created an industry for insurance for it, and they're the ones pointing at everyone else going, gay is the problem. Gay is the problem. They quote things that aren't even actually in the original translation of the book, and they don't even know that. The amount of things that they say that they don't know about and just repeat because they've been told it their whole lives is most of it. Most of it. Okay, if you go back to the original text, most of what they are so passionate about isn't even in there. It's been intentionally misrepresented for political gain and to distract from the fact that they usually do the things that they've changed. For example, it's PDFery that the book talks about, not being gay, but they switch that because one thing they like a lot and the other thing they just pretend to not like. You know what I'm saying? The Lord's name in vain is not going, oh, Jesus. It's saying, God told us we need to take over this political party and run the country. That's what it is. But see, they do that. So you can't preach. Do you understand? Anyway, there's so much. There's the built-in obsession with women and girls and youth. There's the built-in Mayo patriarchy, where you are taught that is the top of the line. That's who you go to for answers. That's who you go to for guidance. That's who you look to if you are lost in the world. Go find one of them. They're the ones that are going to save you. Now, as a 41-year-old woman of color, I can confidently say that absolutely is not how that works, and that is the last person you should go look for. If you're a child lost in the world, you should look for one of us. Really, not like literally a black woman is going to be the main person that will make sure you are taken care of, because we don't want anything coming back on us. Oh, but yeah, the obsessions, the greed, the showmanship, there's so much to it. And I mean, we could go on and on. If you follow me, you've already heard the stories of, these people, especially the reclaimed virgins, the guys, the youth pastors in their 20s that go from church to church and then ask the 12 and 13-year-olds if they know what this is, and then take them in the car to ask them if they want to try doing it with them. And you later realize that was a grown man asking 13-year-old me if I wanted to, what? Like, you don't even catch it then because you trust these people. Anyway, let me know if you want me to keep going. I can keep going because we can talk about my feelings about all of this in my communities. If you can handle it, okay? If you can handle it. Maybe not watch that one.